Hi everybody, this is Cynthia Kane again, and welcome back now to our tutorial for our Week 2 Engagement Activities and Learning Assessment. So by this point, hopefully you have already watched the video tutorials for Plan and for Gather, and you've also read chapters 3 and 4 of our Information Literacy User's Guide, which will help explain Plan and Gather in quite a bit more detail for you. So for this week, you have your choice of 2 engagement activities and also Learning Assessment 2 Research Plan. Now remember again, we are with the specifications grading with this class. So that means that you choose the number of engagement activity points and the number of learning assessments plus the final project that you would like to complete. Also remember that submitting a learning assessment is not complete in and of itself. It doesn't necessarily count as complete just because you have submitted it. When you submit a learning assessment, Megan and I will grade it and we will return it to you either as complete, so you've fulfilled everything in the grading rubric and you don't need to do anything else with that, or it is incomplete. And with incomplete, there are 1 or more elements that you still need to work on with that. If you do have a learning assessment that's returned to you as incomplete, remember again that you have an opportunity to revise that and resubmit it to us as consideration as complete. So please do keep that in mind. Always contact Megan or contact me if you have any questions about specifications grading. So let's go over what you can do for this week. The first thing I'm going to click on is Threshold Achievement Test of Information Literacy Pretests. And by the time you watch this, you will probably have already received an email from me through Canvas with a key to both pretests. There are 2 pretests you're going to do, and a student code for each of those pretests. That essentially means that what we're going to be doing is having you take 2 modules or 2 pretests of an information literacy assessment called the Threshold Achievement Test. By the way, this is not for a grade. And we're not going to be actually grading and, assigning points or anything like that for this pretest. This is mainly a chance for you to see right now what you already know about 2 modules, strategic searching and evaluating process and authority. It's not expecting you to know everything. We just want to know what you know right now in terms of those 2 modules, and then you'll be doing these again as post-tests at the end of the class, and hopefully by that point you will have learned quite a bit more and you will improve your score. Now the way this will work is when you're ready to take each of the pretests, you'll click on this link and you will enter the test key that I send you for each of the modules. You will have 2 test keys, and then when you click on next, you will enter the student key for each of the 2 modules that I gave you. So you actually are going to do this twice, once for strategic searching and once for evaluating process and authority. Once you finish each of the pretests, you will have your results displayed to you as a PDF. Download those results as a PDF and then submit each of those up here under Submit Assignment. So when you go here, you can choose your file for the first PDF, and then you can do add another file for the second PDF. Once we get those, again, we're not going to be looking at any scores or anything. We're just going to make sure that you've actually completed each of those pretests and you've submitted each of your results as 2 PDFs. You'll have 2 PDFs total. Each module that you complete counts as 5 points. So if you complete 1, you'll get 5 points. If you complete both, you'll get a total of 10 engagement activity points. And this will be due March 27th by 11:59 p.m. Remember that you have that 2-day grace period, so you can actually turn it in by March 29th by 11:59 p.m. and it will still count. If it's after that and we don't hear anything from you, it will not count for your engagement activity points. We will navigate back here. And I'm going to move down here now to the second engagement activity that you could choose to complete for this week for a total of 5 engagement activity points. Go back to Gather if you need to the video and to Chapter 4, Gather. If you're still a little bit confused about a primary source, a secondary source, and a tertiary source of information. So what we want you to do for this particular discussion, and also for Learning Assessment 2, the research plan, by now we want you to have thought about a topic that you would like to research for future learning assessments for the rest of this class period. It could be a topic that you're working on for another class, or it could be a topic that just really interests you. It could be something of personal interest, but something you think you can find some information on. You're not going to be writing a research paper for this class. Eventually, you are going to be creating some type of learning object, such as an infographic or a website or a video that will enable you to gather a lot of information together and communicate it in a different way. But for this engagement activity, think about a topic. And then for your topic, list what you think would be a useful primary source for your topic, a useful secondary source, and then what type of tertiary source is going to help you find those primary and secondary sources. Again, refer back to the Gather video tutorial and to Chapter 4 of Gather if you're still not quite sure about primary and secondary sources, and don't hesitate to reach out and ask us if you have any questions. So this, again, is an engagement activity. This would be due March 29th, but again, if you need to use that 2-day grace period, the 2-day grace period for this would be March 31st at 11:59 p.m. And finally, Learning Assessment 2, if you choose to submit this, is called a research plan. This really gathers together everything we've talked about on plan and gather. So what you're going to be doing is actually downloading a worksheet for this. This is what you will complete and submit up here once your worksheet is completely filled out. This is the rubric that we're going to be using to assess this as complete or incomplete. So this is what we want you to cover. You might want to take a little bit of time to read the research plan rubric and make sure that you're doing everything for consideration as complete. Let's take a look at the worksheet. So this is the downloaded worksheet, and I'm going to go back up here to the top of it. Put your name and date. List 3 or 4 potential topics that you would like to research for our course, and then choose one topic, write about what you already know. You can respond in a paragraph or a bulleted list. What do you still want to know about this specific topic? And going back to what you would want to know, narrow your topic into at least 4 distinct research questions. Now, we talked about research questions during week 1, so you may want to go back to the tutorials on week 1 to refresh your memory on that. But this is where you can start with a broad topic, narrowing it, getting it even more narrow, and then what is your research question? Please have at least 4 of these categories completed for your topic as part of the rubric. And you may be able to generate a lot of different research questions for a broad topic. Then choose one of the research questions from what you list here and put an asterisk by the one that you choose. And then down here, think about what we've done in week 1 and week 2 so far. Brainstorm different keywords and synonyms. Remember what I was doing with duct tape, skin, wart removal, treatment, options, truth. Think about that for your own topic. And you can actually add truncation symbols. Remember that little asterisk? You can try some of these as well. And then think about the formats that you need. Are you going to need more books for your topic? Are you going to need more current information in the form of websites? Are you going to need more scholarly, professional journal articles? Do you need newspapers? Do you need social media? Think about what it is that you need, and if you include both scholarly and popular, indicate in 1 or 2 sentences the benefit of including both. Why are you doing both scholarly and popular? I'm going to go back here, now that we're at question number 5, and show you what we want you to do with this one. So you'll be going to the library's webpage at www.emporia.edu/library, clicking on databases, and you're going to do a search for your topic in each of these 3 databases, and then search for the same topic in Wikipedia. I'll show you what we mean by that. So we will go to the library's webpage. And we will click on the databases icon. And you can go to the first database that we indicate, Credo Reference. We'll scroll down here. Again, searching off campus, you will probably be asked to enter your ESU username and password when you click on a database. I'm on campus right now, so I wasn't asked to do that. And this is where you can start your search. So if I wanted to do a search on, let's say, art therapy, that might be my topic that I'm searching. These will give me different encyclopedia articles that I can read. And these are actually from different subject-specific encyclopedias. So Credo Reference is a tertiary source. These are actually secondary sources of information that are within the tertiary source of Credo Reference. Do the same thing with the other two databases we gave you, Gale Virtual Reference Library. Again, you can search here for your topic. And then finally go back here, go to the letter O, and go to Oxford Reference Premium. And search for your topic here. Compare and contrast the different types of encyclopedia articles that you're getting, because you're going to get that in all three of these. Some will be more successful than others. And then you'll just go to Wikipedia and search for your topic there. The reason we're having you do this is that we want you to take notes about what you're getting in the library databases about your topic. What are you getting in the Wikipedia article? And then to answer number 6, which particular database, what articles in the database were more useful for you, or was Wikipedia more useful for you, and why? Please go beyond just saying Wikipedia was good or Credo Reference was good. We want more detail than that. Why? What specifically were you getting? Was it credible? Was it reliable? Was it something you could use for background information? Then you will go back to the library's webpage. And at this point, for number 7, again, going back here, you can click on databases again. But this time, you're going to click on the All Subjects tab. Thinking about your topic, go in here. Again, if I were doing duct tape and wart removal, I might go back into medicine and health. But I want you at this point now to identify some databases within that medicine and health category that you think would work. So we searched in CINAHL Complete. That's the name of the database. Health Source Nursing Academic Edition, that is the name of another database that might work for my information needs. Spend some time exploring in here, because this is what you're going to answer for number 7. What databases are relevant to your topic? So don't put down just medicine and health. Put down the specific databases, which might be CINAHL Complete for my topic. It might be Health Source. Yours will be different according to your topic. And then indicate which database, which specific one you're going to search first, why, and the types of resources you think you're going to find. So you might want to explore in those databases a little bit to figure out what's there for your topic. Now with this, number 8, we want websites. We don't want you to list just Google. We want you to go to Google, do a search for your topic, and find some really good web resources that relate to your topic and list them below that you think would be appropriate. You can also provide the links. And indicate what you know or how you know about these resources and why you would go to them, why you think they're credible or reliable. So these are websites. Now, what I would do here is another assessment that we have coming up later on is called Recommended Resources, which is a lot like an annotated bibliography. So assuming that you're going to be using this topic for this and your final project, which could be a website or a video or a big infographic, think about what process you're going to be doing, that research process. Where are you going to start first? How are you going to organize your information? How do you think you're going to complete the final project? This one might be a little bit more of a challenge since you're still at the very beginning, but again, think about this in terms of planning and gather. How are you going to gather your information? Where are you going to start? What do you think is going to work for your topic? Whatever you do for your final project, the first draft is going to be due on April 29th. So we want you to identify some dates that you would have some different things actually done, such as an information video. You're going to have a bibliography that goes along with your final project. You're going to have different creative elements. What date would you start constructing it? Hopefully it would be before Friday, April 29th. And then before, again, April 29th, when would you like to have this draft to submit as a first draft? And I'm going to go back here for just a second because we don't want you to get too stressed out right now about the final project, but there is a place down here when we start getting more into our different weeks. So for example, this is where you would submit the draft of your final project, which could be a link to a website, it could be a link to a video that you create and upload as a YouTube video. So kind of think about this is where you're going to submit it, and then your final version will be submitted here. We'll go back to the research plan. Write down any notes or thoughts about your research plan, and then finally do a reflection. If you've ever planned this, what did it look like? Did you think this was helpful? Why or why not? We really don't want you to feel too stressed with this particular assignment. What we want you to do instead is kind of use it as a game plan, which is really what it is. So this will be due on March 27th at 11:59 p.m., again with that 2-day grace period. If you submitted it by 11:59 p.m. on March 29th, you would still be within that 2-day grace period. As always, if you're running into any snags, any questions before the engagement activities or the learning assessment is due, contact me, contact Megan before. We can help you before something is due. If you wait and contact us after the due dates and the grace periods are passed, you are not going to be able to catch up with that. Good luck. I hope everything is going well in these a little bit different times. And take care. Ask us if you have any questions.